All right, what is up, everyone? We are back, and today we are playing with the most sold discs of 2025 so far. Let's get into it. Yeah, we are now officially halfway through the year. June has just ended. Halfway through the year. This was actually a video that was requested like several months ago by somebody. I don't remember who, but they were like, they were asking basically what our most sold discs at the store are. And I was like, that would be actually a great video idea, but it's like I figured I'd wait till halfway through the year instead of doing it like quarterly or something. So officially halfway through the year, top 5 most sold. I don't think these will surprise you if you're an avid disc golfer. If you're newer, you probably have some of these discs too as well. So just go ahead and get into it. All right, so I think what I'm gonna do is basically just go from like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to our most sold of the year so far. So what is funny is that you'll notice 3 of these are coming from MVP Axiom, and I believe number 6 when we were looking at it was also MVP. So they're kind of taking over the game right now, which is, I feel like, no surprise with the signings they had plus the discs they produce is just like a recipe for success. But let's get into it. Number 5 is the Discraft Buzz. This is probably one of the most popular discs in disc golf. It's a lot of people's first disc. It was my first disc that I ever bought several years ago now. Straight mid, I think it's like 5.5, -1.1. You can shot shape. They're great for beginners. They're great for advanced players. It's just a straight disc that actually goes far for a mid. So there's that. All right, number 4 is the Hex. This is basically the main rival to the Buzz. If you're not familiar, I believe they're the same numbers, just that straight mid. However, MVP is just on this crazy rise right now. So the Hexes are super popular. This one's actually in my bag. It's pretty beat up now, so you'll probably see 2 different flights out of this and the Buzz, even though they are the same numbers. But just another straight mid, point and shoot, punch it hard. These actually probably go further than the Buzz. MVP stuff, I don't know if gyro technology is like real or a myth or whatever you want to say about it, but all my MVP stuff typically goes further. So the Hex here. Up next, number 3, also Axiom, is the Crave. This is basically the faster version of the Hex. I think it's like a 6.5 speed technically, but straight fairway that goes basically as far as a lot of my distance drivers, depending on wind. This thing is beat up now, so again, I'm getting like the same flights out of the Crave and the Hex. The Crave just goes further. All right, up next is the Innova Gorgon. This and the next disc, which you can probably already guess if you haven't already, they basically came out relatively towards the same time and they just blew up. The Gorgons are awesome. They have numbers are 10.6, -2.1. So ideally you are getting a little bit of turn or flip up, whatever, depending on the angle. But the 6 glide, this is like the first disc ever that I've thrown where the 6 glide is like very evident that the disc just stays up in the air. I love this thing. This is in Champ. I like the Star better, but I've been throwing the Champ a little bit now, getting used to it. This is pretty new to the bag, but the Champ Gorgon, huge disc, super popular right now. We basically can't keep these in the store, so there's that. And then last but not least, this is probably the disc of probably the year, last year, is that when they came out, is the MVP Trail. These things are incredible. I get very similar flights from the Gorgon. This is just a little more stable. It's 10.5, -1.1. So again, it's basically just that faster version of now the Crave. So it's just another step up from there. Incredible disc. I've aced with this one actually on this course. I'll try to do it again later. But yeah, these are our top 5. This was like by far and away the most sold too. There was no comparison to it. So pretty fun. We're gonna play 9 holes here at Tom Watkins. This is an excellent disc review course. It's just pretty open and it has a lot of different distances. So let's get into it. All right, hole 1 here is only 230 feet. So really not much for the mids. We won't throw the drivers on this one. Kind of get a nice warm up with the mids. You can kind of see how they fly from shorter distances too at lower speeds. But we'll get out to some longer holes and just let everything rip like as hard as I can, and so you can get some actual like really good flight comparisons. Okay, straight flight. Aiming was really bad, so that's fun. All right, Buzz, we're gonna hit it a little harder, flatter. Hopefully hit our line this time. Please do it. Get down. Oh, it's so far. Way better shot though. All right, let's move on. All right, and if you've noticed, new lens, which means we're back on the vlog cam, which I'm super stoked about because I feel like I talk so much sometimes, and the other lens was so zoomed in that like I had to basically just be standing on the T-pad, or else it was like way up here when I was trying to do it. So the fact that I can be back here and it looked normal, it feels incredible. All right, so I just picked them up. I just realized I did not bring a putter. My own fault, unfortunately. So we'll probably just throw them so you can get flights. I probably won't, I won't finish the holes out unless it's like a tap in or something like that, which the buzz kind of was. But yeah, that's on me. That's on me. All right, hole 2, 359 feet. It is playing a little bit downhill. Double mando with this tree and the pole. We have a good tailwind, and I'm not exactly an expert at throwing like turnover type shots. So I think with the Crave, I probably will. The Trail and the Gorgon, I might try to go like flip up forehands and see just how straight they're gonna push. I think that'll be cool. So we'll start with the Crave and then go forehand. Oh yeah, the drift is crazy. And the thing is, nice stability at the end too. The thing is with the Crave too, is that the Eclipse plastic is a little more stable. So if you're looking at that and you want that flight, that's pretty beat up. But if you buy like a brand new Neutron, or even probably like a Fission Crave, do they make those? Yeah, they make those. Then you'll probably get that flight, if not even a little more turn. So you can kind of cater to the plastic, because MVP is pretty noticeable, at least in my opinion, that depending on the plastic, you do get more or less stable flight. So if that's something you're into, then that's definitely an option. All right, Trail. We're gonna go forehand. I threw this forehand, oh my gosh. Okay, the wind actually might be good. The wind is now kind of left to right. So I'm hoping this will just kind of keep it straight. If it does get over, it's probably just gonna push. I've thrown this forehand one time and it was really good. It literally just flipped up to flat and rode straight until it fell to the ground. So hoping I can recreate that. This might be a little far of a hole to like not accidentally throw it too hard. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I don't know, we'll see how it goes. Oh, see, that's promising. That definitely was the wind. Still kind of got down there. That definitely was the wind that kind of pushed it that way. So I'm hoping, I'm gonna try to hit the Gorgon on that same angle and hopefully it flips up. It did, but I'm just early releasing. Trying to throw on too much hyzer, dang it. All right, that was my bad on those. Hopefully you could see the flights. But yeah, that like, it's like tail left to right. So when it's on hyzer, it's just gonna keep holding that. I think if I would've gone flatter, it would've been just fine. But yeah, we'll try again, that's on me. All right, hole 3, 250 feet on the dot. This one will be telling because, wow, it's dark. It's a headwind now. So we're basically just playing the opposite direction of the last fairway, but it's headwind now. So throwing this is actually the Crave, but throwing the Buzz and the Hex in a headwind, you'll be able to see, especially the Hex because it's a little more beat up. I'll try to throw it on hyzer and you should be able to see it flip up, and then I'll probably throw the Buzz a little flatter and just see. I'm hoping that it'll just kind of hold. All right, first up is Hex. I'm kind of annoyed with this low ceiling right here, so I'm hoping I don't hit that. Didn't flip up a whole bunch actually, but I put on a good bit of hyzer. It wanted to, it was like very, but I'm gonna go out flatter to the basket with the Buzz. Swing, please. Oh my gosh. Oh, dang. All right, it is interesting. It's something I guess, maybe I mean, it makes sense, but the 5, and even kind of probably down to like that 7, 8, I know the Destroyer's on there, but all that to say, the top 5 are all like very neutral stability. The Gorgon's technically slightly understable, but neutral stability discs. And I guess I'm thinking about it, it makes sense because it's kind of a disc for everyone. It's not like the Destroyer, I think, is in the top 10 where it's just overstable distance driver, you know what I mean? But this is a disc that regardless of skill level you can use, which actually kind of makes me appreciate them a little more, that literally like this is a disc for anybody. So I don't know. I guess I think that's cool, but it makes sense, you know what I mean? Anyways, hole 11, oh, tailwind too is so good. 365 feet, this is probably the longest hole I think I'll play today, most likely. We're gonna go all drivers here and just let them eat. I don't really even, I throw for the basket obviously, but like my goal is to just throw it in the road behind every single time. So we're gonna hit all these really hard, probably as flat as we possibly can, just to see what they do in the tailwind. Yeah, let's just let them rip. That's really all there is to this one. Please. Oh my gosh, that's under the basket. All right, that's good news. Again, the Crave just goes far. But if I can throw a 6.5 speed, 365 under the bucket, I'm hoping these will go over. You know what I mean? I feel like that makes sense. Oh, unless you throw it low. Dang it. Got there in a hurry. All right, I want that with the Gorgon. There's that flip, get off that pole. No. Dang it. It flipped up a little bit. One thing, and I'll show you later when I go pick it up, that Gorgon is pretty domey, which is gonna add a little bit of stability, but also gonna add that glide. So like if I could have missed, that could have just been in the air forever. You know what I mean? All right, let me know if there's any of the 5 that surprise you or just don't surprise you. Because honestly, when we were looking it up, I think it took me a couple tries, but I guessed all 5 like relatively quickly. And granted, I do work at the store, so like I kind of know what comes in and out. But let me know if there's any that you think should be. And I'm not talking about your underrated random disc that you just love. I'm just talking about a disc that is super, super popular, but you didn't see on the list. And maybe if you do have any, I'll let you know if it was in our top 10 even. But yeah, let me know. All right, I technically wasn't parked, but I'm like, 10 feet, see if I can put this in. Yeah, I'll take that. All right, because I believe in transparency, I just played a hole, it's like 2 holes before this one or something like that on the layout. I threw both mids, it was only 220. I threw them into the woods, like almost hit a house over here. So you're only getting 8 holes today. So I apologize, but those were so bad you're not able to watch those. So the hole, what are we on? This, I guess 5 or 6, I don't even know anymore. Right at 300 feet, this is the hole I aced with the trail. We're gonna try to recreate it. Straight shot, however, I am gonna make the excuse because I do it every time. The tee pad is pointing one way, the basket is like 45 degrees off to the right, like corner. So I slip off this tee pad like every single time. So we're gonna try not to do that today, but we're unloading all 5. We'll just go mids into the drivers. Slight headwind, so it might be a pump for the mids, but see if we can get them there. Never mind, that was pretty good. Okay, pump for the mids, I was wrong. I went past the basket, so that feels good, I guess. We're gonna go buzz. If I could get that same flight with the buzz, since it's newer, it's like a little more stable, and get that fade. Or I'll pull it because I almost stepped off the end of the tee pad. Why'd that end up still being not bad? All right. For real this time. Man, what's the wind doing? I kind of want to throw forehands for some reason. I think I'm just going to go Crave, try to go flip up forehand like right at the basket. Headwind for sure. I actually didn't hate that. And for those like too, I want this to be educational, I guess a little bit. The Crave, well, any of these discs, especially the drivers, like brand new, especially that Crave in the Eclipse, brand new, that probably is just a flip up to flat, but it is pretty beat up now that it did turn over, especially with the headwind. But something to note. All right, we'll go Gorgon and leave trail for last, I guess. Keep turning. Early. Great line though. All right, best for last. See if we can do it 2 times. No, early again. Dang it. Fine shots though, but no aces, which is just what I crave now. All right, fun hole here. Just over 300, but it's such a low ceiling. So I'm gonna go drivers. And I think for this one, we have a headwind. It plays up and to the left too, if you can't see it from there, but it plays up and to the left. I'm gonna throw all the drivers on hyzer in the headwind and just kind of see which one is gonna hold up the most. I'm assuming the trail based off numbers, but just see, you know, kind of see integrity in headwind and things like that. Wow. All right, so, I mean, it's only 300 feet. I didn't throw the crave very hard and it flipped up, turned, and stayed. Now, again, just for reference, that is pretty beat up. So a new one might have a little bit of finish or it'll just flip up to kind of flat and drift, but that one definitely turned over. All right, based off that, I assume the trail is probably gonna do what I just said a new crave would do, is kind of just flip up to flat and hold. Nose up, so it stayed on hyzer, which is nice. All right, that's actually pretty close. That's good news. Granted, it was nose up, it was on hyzer, but a little bit of integrity, which is good. I think if I really laid into it, it maybe would have had a little bit more movement, but that's just fine. Gorgon now. Get off that tree. Yeah. See, but that one too, had I hit the middle of the gap, would have actually been really, really nice, because that, like, I threw it a little harder than the trail, but it flipped up to flat and just pushed straight on like a lot of hyzer. I'll have to go back and see if I actually threw it on a bunch, but it certainly felt like it. All right, this is what I like about this course, is that we're playing basically the same hole going back. We don't have the ceiling anymore, which is nice, but now it's straight tailwind. So headwind to tailwind, throwing the same disc. I think I'm gonna throw the same shots. So I just threw them hyzer into a headwind, and we kind of got actually like pretty accurate reads. So like slower speed, neutral disc, turnover in the headwind, higher speed neutral disc, stayed hyzer, and then a slightly understable disc on hyzer in the headwind, flipped up to flat, which I feel like is pretty accurate. So we're gonna do the same thing, throw them probably, maybe not on as much hyzer, but pretty close, I think, and see what they do in a tailwind. Yeah, that one's definitely just staying on hyzer, going to the basket. Okay. A little nose up, so I didn't super love that shot, but yeah. All right, I'm gonna try to keep this one lower because I think that first one was definitely nose up, which is why it kind of stayed. I was expecting that one to get flat. So this one is gonna be probably the same flight as the crave, but ideally, this is a more accurate representation. Yeah. Hyzer, stable disc, hyzer in the headwind, just kind of pushing hyzer, which is such a good shot to have. But I'm hoping that with the Gorgon, it just flips up to flat and just rides straight. Kind of like what it did on the last hole, but even more so. Ooh, see, okay, learning point. When you're looking at molds again, that Gorgon is pretty domey. And I get it's still like an understable disc, but that dome makes it a little more stable. So I probably could have just thrown that out flatter and gotten the flight I wanted rather than trying to get that domier disc to flip up flat. I could have probably thrown it harder too, and it might have done the, you know, the trick, but it's interesting and I forgot to think about. All right, and for the sake of science, we're actually just gonna let these rip as well. So we'll go hex and then buzz too. Just hit them, we're just gonna hit these so hard. Yeah. Dang. I need to clip my fingernails. That hurt. That was a good shot though. All right, buzz. Dang it, that hurt. A little lower. You ever figure out form problems in real time? That's crazy here. Let me show you. All right, so here's nose angle lesson 101. This is what I figured out on the tee pad. So a lot of people, when they tell you, let's see which way would be best to do this. when they tell you to get nose angle, you know, you're pouring the coffee, you're getting that wrist down, but one of the things that helped me too was that thumb down. So you can already see this is flat, this is no pressure, thumb down now. But something that I also do that I realized I didn't on the crave shot was I take that pinky and I tuck it hard as well. So like my 2 points of pressure are like, I guess 3. It's my index finger, my thumb, and then my pinky. So like this is just flat, no pressure, thumb down, pinky down. So now it's even more nose down, which is bringing that wrist down too. And if you notice, I didn't do it on the crave shot, so it kind of skied out and I could feel the difference. So then I did it on the trail and the rest of them, and I got those flatter shots rather than swinging through flat and the disc coming out way up. I came through flat and it stayed, but you can tell even too, like just straight out in front of me, there's no pressure here, right? Then you go thumb down and then you go pinky down and you can see, almost see the top of the disc. So that's funny that, yeah, that's something that I tell a lot of people and it works for me. That's why I tell people, and I just forgot it. It's just, I guess it's not, what's it called, muscle memory yet, which is kind of annoying because I've been doing it for a long time, but it's just something that I guess I need to actively start thinking about that nose angle too. This is a total side point to the video. If you stayed this long, little tutorial. I think we're gonna go back to the long hole, just kind of finish out there because I haven't really thrown anything on Anheuser. So we're gonna do that, then wrap it up. All right, so I lied about finishing on the long hole. We are not. I forgot, I meant to play this hole and I forgot. So what's gonna happen is this is the hole 310 feet, so I can throw all 5 at it and have a chance at the bucket, but I'm gonna go Anheuser. And now I'm not the best at throwing Anheuser, so I did wanna give myself a little more options than just throwing driver. So we're gonna try to go Anheuser and just see, you know, what the fight out is gonna be like, or if it's just gonna hold, or, you know, whatever it may be. Exhibit A about how I'm not good at throwing on Anheuser. There we go, that's way better. All right, I can only assume the Buzz would have had very similar fight to that. Exhibit B. You heard the snap though, that was kind of crazy. All right, 2 more good ones so I don't have to throw them again, but if these are bad, we'll try again. Oh yeah, definitely panning turn shot, but you could tell had I thrown that higher, it probably would have started coming back at the end. So I can only assume it is tailwind now. I'm gonna try to get this one up. Again, we're gonna learn from the dome. I never showed you actually, and it actually doesn't look that severe, but definitely, I mean, it's certainly not a flat disc. So there is that, but a little higher, Anheuser. We'll see how much it fights. Not much. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. All right, that is it. Once again, we have the Buzz, the Crave, the Trail, the Hex, and the Gorgon are the top 5 sellers, at least for our store, for the year. I can imagine there's a lot of these in other like retail stores, top 5, but that is it for us. If you have any of these in your bag, let me know. Let me know which ones you want to try out, because especially with these 5, we definitely have them. So that is all I got for you today. We have a ton of videos coming, 50 state videos every Friday. Jacob and I are traveling a little more because it's summertime to go do some brother battles, other challenge videos, things like that. So we have a lot of stuff in the works. If you're not subscribed, I encourage you to subscribe. We appreciate you, and the growth on the channel has been insane. So that is all I've got. Ozark Mountain Discs to the moon.